today's history video, I'd love to have some fun. It turns out that former presidents, long dead former presidents, go up and down in approval ratings. And we really need to have tracking polls for dead presidents. That's because our opinion of them is so heavily influenced by our feeling about what's going on in the United States at the time that we're looking back at them. So, for example, George Washington has always had a positive approval, but as we've begun to see the importance of strong national defense, the importance of national unity, and frankly moved a little bit to the right during the Reagan period, Washington's numbers have improved. So have John Adams's. He is the object of several positive biographies, and that's moved his numbers and his approval up. Jefferson, on the other hand, has had a rough ex-presidency because we're more sensitive to issues of slavery and racism, and his affair with Sally Hemings and his holding slaves until the end of his life strikes against him. Andrew Jackson has also had a tough ex-presidency because more and more we focused on the Trail of Tears and the early biological warfare against the Cherokee Nation as it trudged westward and vacated most of the current southern states, driven by Jackson and the federal troops. Lincoln has always been high and continues to be high, but Grant has had a bit of a recovery. There have been some very good biographies of him, one by Gene Smith in particular, that make the point that he was the one who was sticking up for civil rights in the South. And by keeping federal troops there, he suppressed the Ku Klux Klan, which thrived after the troops were pulled out, after he left the White House. Woodrow Wilson is doing better these days because we're seeing the importance of international law and the importance of rule by law as opposed to simply national interest in our foreign policy. Coolidge has also had a pretty good time because we're seeing the value of laissez-faire and letting the market operate and of limiting the size of government. I think FDR has had a kind of tough ex-presidency because we increasingly are realizing that he didn't bring us out of the Depression. The Depression was going on all during his first two terms and returned with a vengeance in his second term and ultimately was ended only by the war. And the hero worship of FDR has dropped considerably. On the other hand, Harry Truman is doing pretty well as an ex-president. The recent biographies of him have been very positive. And after the wall came crashing down and the Soviet Union disappeared, we learned the value of his containment strategy. Eisenhower is kind of bifurcated. As a general, there's increasing concern about how he functioned, increasing criticism of D-Day and of the strategy on Omaha Beach and his European strategy. On the other hand, as president, there's emerging a sense that he was the hidden hand presidency, and that whereas he appeared to be inactive, he in fact was very active, and it was very important, the stuff he did as president. So it's kind of interesting to watch the dead presidents go up and down. Now, they don't have to sweat their poll numbers, but we do. Thanks for watching.